Hello and welcome everybody for another tabletop review brought to you by me, Tabletop Junkie, and the love that I have for tabletop games. Today we are going to be talking about Wightchester, the prison city of the damned. Or should I say the prison city of ye damned. And then I got something to show off already. We're already going to dive into this, and this is going to be a great stream. Not even a minute in, I got something to dive into. Give me a second. Boop, 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 boop. Let's do the screen share right here. Whoa. Look at that. Magnificent artwork. Horrific artwork. Everything that is terrible. By Reverend Dr. James Grimm Disborough and friends. By PostMortem Studios. And friends. There was some friends that actually had it out. Let's see who some of these people are. So, we have the artists by, they call it I cannot say that word. We're just going to say artists. Brad McDevitt, Nicholas Wolf, Public Domain, AI, John Pickett, and then the Never Met Press. And then some skimminers there. Yay is the Middle English for the... Yeah, I know that one. Let's see, who else do we have? We got James Disborough himself, Brad McDevitt, Jessica McDevitt. Okay. Mr. Reese Miller. We're not gonna talk about who that is. Good friend of mine. Let's just point that out. Miguel Rebrero, William Baldwin, Neil Coates. There's a lot of people involved in this. Chris Cotgrove, David Thonger. I hope I'm not butchering that. John Pickett and Dungeon Crawl. And then, of course, the dubious editors was James. Of course, we know Grim Jim. Grimly Playtesters, Alpha Reading, and William Baldwin is Speechify. A lot of good people. And look at this. This is amazing artwork and setup right here. Look at all of that. The dead is coming for you. So this is the review over Wightchester, or originally Wightchester, meaning white. Oh yes, and we do have some people in the crowd today. We've got the esoteric of nerdity. I'm wondering something here. Give me a minute. Gonna fix something up. And here we go. So that way we can see some people. Here we go. We got some people coming in the order here. Okay, so we've got the Esoteric Order of Nerdity. He mentioned 1666, the year of the apocalypse, but from out of the space comes a comet that will change everything. Also, he was letting me know that ye is the middle English for the, and then troublemaker. Hello. The troublemaker's my girlfriend. We all know that one. So, gotta get rid of this for a little bit. All right, so we're going to take away this for just a hot second because I am not here to... We all know my rules. When I do reviews, I will show off a few things, but we're not going to go through every little piece of information. And when you do the PDFs, anyone can just pause the video and grab it. So this is the book setting for Wightchester, talking about the prison city, which is also fitting into the grimdark realm. It is supposed to be used with the grimdark book that we went through yesterday. So this book actually comes through with very, I would say very heavy lore. Like, lots of information to play around with. It does have, they do have, like, sections talking about the introduction, about Wightchester and Wightchester, when Wightchester was changed, what it originally was, the military tactics that they used during that time frame, religious upheaval, the Baptists. They have many different sections and lore that actually digs into this realm a little bit as well. We won't go through every single one of them, just for the simple fact that that is lore information that you can go through. So this is very heavy on the lore. Actually, the first few hundred pages is really more lore based than it is mechanic. So I definitely love that, because there's definitely no shortage of information here. Definitely no shortage of information. So yeah, and we even got faces to deal with, like faces. They even put in faces like the rise of science and the fall of superstition. It talks about a face known as William Ball, a founding fellow and treasurer of the Royal Society until 1663. Ball was well known from his observations of Saturn and may have even discovered the Cassini division before Cassini. Injured after the Ball fall in 1660, he suffered from an ill health ever after, though this didn't stop him from having a clutch of children with his wife, Posthuma. Or is it Posthuma? Hard to say, actually. He was forced to step back from science because of his ill health, and having managed his estate in the world of Wightchester, the abnatural events have given him hope of miracles, of a cure for his infirmity, and he has returned to his studies with a particular interest now moved to comets, like the ones that herald the rising dead. Ho ho ho! So in this run, we did mention like magic is a bit different. Instead of arcane and divine, it's like miracles and blessings and dark gifts from below. Miracles and blessings from above and dark gifts from below. But we all know that that is totally like inaccurate, because sometimes the dark gifts do come from above in the form of a comet that actually causes the dead to rise again. Is it disease? Is it magic? Is it from another world? Who knows? So he did have some quick firearms rules based in the D&D 5e, D20, and OSR, and they do talk about that a little bit as well, and let you know how Grimdark actually affects this. The entire first 7 pages is actually introduction into Wightchester itself, starting from the earliest events of when Wightchester was first founded, going to the latest events of the aftermath of what the hell happened. So, and then he goes into some inspiration for this book, how to use the book as well. So we're not going to go too much into it. But what's funny is there is some stuff in here that I think I've seen before. Assassin's Creed 2, the game, Black Death film from 2011, Blazing World the book, The Countess, Cromwell. Let's see, do we have anything else that I might know about? Some of these I might know. Hex, film in 2017. I have not seen that one. Sleepy Hollow, film in 1999. Season of the Witch, film in 2011. I did like that one. That one had Nicolas Cage in it. And and Nicolas Cage is starting to play Renfield. He plays in Renfield about his not his friend, but is confidant the word? Point is, he's got this caretaker known as Renfield who helps bring him people, and he feeds. He's technically playing Dracula. I cannot wait to see that. And then I did hear that there is something about Zombicide, the Black Plague. It's a board game. So he had a lot of inspiration. The Wightchester campaign. So Wightchester is visibly being played in the following way. Number 1, the characters are criminals or volunteers sent into the city as punishment or through misguided belief that they can be cleansed. The characters meet one of the other small groups of survivors in a relatively safe area of the city. They have to earn their place and make their name, delving deeper into the city for supplies and knowledge. Bit by bit, piece by piece, they can cleanse the city or die trying and uncover some of the many secrets. The game culminates with the characters either putting an end to the infection and being pardoned for their service, or number 6. See, that was all 1 through 5. Number 6, or finding a way to escape. 6 ways to play the game. There we go. I cannot wait to... I've converted the classes, and I am working on conversion to make sure the character creation works out for the conversion, because I am going to eventually play Wightchester using the Castles and Crusades Castle and Crusades setting. So, like I said, this book is mostly filled with lore. I'm trying to see if we can come up with some of, so yeah, it has many different ways to, many different ways you could play, 6 different ways. And it does have a lot of lore in the beginning. I did say that this was a very lore-heavy book. I've mentioned that several times. So, the deeper history of Wightchester, prehistoric Wightchester, the ancient past. Then we go into medieval Wightchester, the Roman Wightchester. Oh, no. First off, the prehistoric Wightchester, the Roman Wightchester, the medieval Wightchester. See, this adds many different cultures to it. I freaking love this. The Elizabethan age, the Tudor Wightchester, the Stuart Wightchester. Oh, man. Just so much is here. Like, let me show you guys. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, it's very much filled with... Whoops, that's the chat. Where's my shirt? Where are you? Where are you? There we go. I don't even know where to begin. Like, there is just so much you can add to... so much, history here. So much that was worked in. And then okay, so here we go. We can start with this one. Okay, so lore. This book definitely has it. I have to give it thumbs up for the lore. Okay, so the characters in Grimdark, limiting hit points, limit magic, and limit healing. Which with Castles and Crusades. Okay, so with Castles and Crusades, this is definitely well fitted for that. Because first off, okay, so limit healing, okay, 1 hit point for a short rest, 1 hit die for a long rest. Okay, so in Castles and Crusades, it's one hit point for a day of rest. After a week, you start healing 7 hit points per day, or something like that. And then after 30 days, you start healing more. Okay, so this whole section right here is already outfitted for the Siege Engine, because in 5th edition, it's basically you heal 1 hit die worth of hit points, you roll it, and that's if you take a short rest. And then if you take a long rest, you heal your maximum result on your hit dice. So it's like if you have a D8 hit dice, you heal 1 hit point, or 8 hit points, plus your Constitution. So he's talking about limiting healing. Well, in the Siege Engine, Castles and Crusades, that's already dealt with. You only heal... let me pull that up. Because, like I said, I plan on running this in Castles and Crusades. So let's see some of the difference here that I freaking love, because I think Mr. Grim Jim did not know he did this, but basically it's already outfitted for Castles and Crusades. Okay, so... We're not here to show that off. I'm just working on the healing part. And yes, I buy digital copies of everything I have because I'm very careful with my books. I don't even take my books off the shelf very much. And Troublemaker can actually, because she's my girlfriend, can contest to that. I barely touch them. I touch them more on my computer than I do anything else. Okay, so in general, hit points heal at a rate of 1 hit point per day, and only if the character is resting, well fed, kept warm, and the wounds are being tended to. After 7 days, the rate of healing increases to include the Constitution bonus, if any. So it's still 1 hit point, and then after 7 days, it's 1 hit point plus your Constitution. After 14 days, which is another week on top of the week you were already there, so another week. After 14 days, the healing rate is doubles. The rate of healing doubles, and so if you heal 1 hit point per day, plus a constitution of, say, +1, that's 2, and then it doubles to 4. Then after 30 days, it triples, so 4, 8, 12 points per day. Rates of healing can be adjusted by magical healing, herbs, diet, level of care, or other factors that Castle Keeper deems applicable. Okay, so let's go back to our book here. 1 hit point for a short rest, 1 hit die for a long rest. Guess what? We don't deal with that. It's 1 hit point, period. Being reduced to a state of dying leaves a permanent wound. Reduces one ability permanently by 1. I don't know if that rule is necessary for Castles and Crusades, but that is very nice. Okay, so let's look up here for what it says about limit magic. Okay, so spells throw everything off and are obscenely powerful at any level, especially if you're trying for a grim and dark. Without the extensive rewrites and changes in Grimdark, it is best to leave out magic altogether. For some classes with magic as a secondary capability, you can give them a feat or additional ability increases to compensate, such as the Ranger, Paladin, or Bard. Well, guess what? Rangers, Paladins, and Bards don't cast spells in Castles and Crusades. Paladins do have something where they can heal a little bit, but it's not... It can only be used in a limited case, so that's it. And then Rangers and Bards don't do magic. Unless you use the Adventurer's, I believe it's the Adventurer's backpack book or the Adventurer's spell book is the only time that they incorporate those in there. But we can leave those out. And then limit hit points. After starting health, only add 1 hit point per level. Without the Constitution bonus. Well, in Castles and Crusades, I will say this. It is your first level. At first level, it is really just your hit die plus Constitution modifier if you get it. The difference between the difference between D&D 5th edition and Castles and Crusades attribute bonuses are widely different. Let me see if I could actually pull those up. And I know I can pull those up, so that's not even... So, ability score bonuses, okay? And I know some of this probably offhand. So, like, if you have a 1, it's a -5. 2 to 3 is a -4. 4 to 5 is a -3. 6 to 7 is a -2. 8 and 9 is a -1. 10 and 11 is a 0. Okay, so let me tell you guys the difference. Okay. 0 and 1, regardless, is going to be a -5. Okay? Even in Castles and Crusades. It doesn't actually have it in there as that, but that's just my general rule as a GM. That's my GM style. Because sometimes, you know, a creature is not going to have that kind of thing. And okay, so actually, I'm going to say this right now. Alright, so 1 is a -5, 2 to 3 is a -4. Remember that. So 1, an attribute score of 1 is a -4. 2 to 3 is a -3. Okay? 4 and 5 is a -2. 6 and 8 is a -1. See, 6 to 7 is a -2. 8 and 9 is a -1. Well, guess what? Here's the difference. 9 to 12 in Castles and Crusades is a 0, and that's counted as average. Okay, so 9 is a -1, 10 and 11 is a 0, and 12 and 13 is a +1. It is definitely difficult to have an attribute score. So, in Castles and Crusades. So it's already, in a sense, that is another change that I won't even have to worry about making. Not even remotely at all. So there it already works out in my favor. So, alright, so crimes and misdemeanors. Well, you can... So, guilty or innocent, you roll a d10. If you're guilty or innocent, great. If you're guilty, you go to the crime and roll a d... it says roll a d100. Okay, so the... Wow. Oh. You roll a d100. If you score a 1 to 80, you are thieving. 81 to 82, you suffered political crimes. And it has a whole... And that has... Okay, so... This is what I like here. You know, if you're guilty, you go to this crime section right here. Okay? You got to roll a D100. 1 to 80, you're thieving. And then you roll on a 1d12, which, if you get a 1 or 2, burglary, demanding money with menaces, fraud, looting, pickpocketing. And then, okay, so political crimes. Espionage, forgery, that's 81, 82. Intercepting the king's mail. Who the hell would take the time to do that? All right, 83. Well, probably someone who was against the crown and was trying to figure out game plans. So yeah, and then if you're innocent, you voluntarily came here. That sucks. Huh. Ooh. All right, so that's like the first 20 something page, 17, 18 pages. Okay. My voice is a little quiet. How about now? Yeah, I'm trying. The problem is my setup is not ideal. I have to move away from the mic to adjust certain things, and then I have to move back to the mic to make sure it's there. Let me see if I can actually try to angle it a little bit differently. I've got to figure out a new setup for this because it's quite... Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I could just do this. No, that ain't gonna work either. I got a lot of things I got to figure out on this still. See if I can adjust a few things. Oh, is it better now? Okay, I see that. I see that you said it's better. I just was wondering if it's still better because I actually adjusted my gain on the mic up to about halfway. And my microphone volume was actually turned down. Huh. Did not imagine that one. Alright, so now we're going to be talking about some of the Wightchester's areas, okay? So, this book is basically, and, I'm going to basically tell you like it is. This book is, I'm going to turn this off here for a minute, because you ain't going to get all that information. Sorry. You can have whatever, pause the video and get what you can. But like I said, I won't be showing this book off too widely, because you're going to be forced to buy it. And I don't gain nothing from that. Everyone knows my rules. Alright, so about page, 18, and for however long it extends, which is most of the book, the book starts going into descriptions, heavy descriptions, and lots of information on certain areas of Wightchester. Now, this doesn't really talk too much about the outside of the world, for the simple fact that it, doesn't matter about the rest of the world. The rest of the world is probably in the same chaos that this one is in, but Wightchester is really, really bad. So it goes into the locations of the city and starts going into the maps. And then we get cool maps like this. So this is Wightchester within the walls of year of our Lord, 1666. And that is the map of it. This is probably where you get thrown in, and then you get to explore. This is for all the this is a lot. This is for all the characters to explore, basically. So, yeah. So a lot of good stuff here, and each section of the book from here on out actually begins a full level of breakdown. Let me see what's going on here. Hang on one second. I keep having... Okay, nothing. Alright, so then the rest of the book begins going into a breakdown of each section of the city. Starting with, basically the Cathedral Park. I don't know how small they have these sections. Let me see here. Oh. Yeah, they're actually pretty small. Because there's the Cathedral Park, the Wightchester College, the Shadow Park, and they each go into each section of that and to see what's there for you to explore and loot. And actually, that extends and it also gives you potential, it gives you ideas of what kind of loot could be there. It gives you how much loot is worth there, so on and so forth. There's stuff as worthless as soap, but stuff as useful as gold pieces. And that extends through most of the book. All right, so I'm not going to show off all that stuff. Like I said, one of the things that was there was Cathedral Park. Let me give you an idea of what I was talking about when it talks about loot. So this section here is Cathedral Park. And then the Wightchester Cathedral, the naves, station, the northern wall, west to east. The massacre of innocents, babies, and children impaled on spears. It tells you what's there. That is grim, but you know that's what this world is supposed to be. It's supposed to be dark times. So it gives you an encounter, 0. Okay, so that's not 0. That's actually O. What that means is there's like one easy encounter, and it will tell you it is easy for the dead to enter the cathedral and to mill around inside, but less easy for them to get out. The other entrances and exits being locked and blocked, the dead seem drawn to this place, as though still considering it a place of refuge. There should be 2d6 random undead within the area. Note that zombies from other areas of the cathedral will be attracted by any noise and may join in any attack. So anytime you see notes like this, encounters or loot, I think it's represented by how many O's are there is like the level of it being there. Like there will be 12 O's for like 12 lanterns, like what it says right here. So yeah, very easy to make an adventure. One of the things that's actually in here is this is meant for you to go down and break down on your own set of notes. I even think Grim Jim even says, you can draw in this book, and then for the PDF, you can make your own notes on the PDF. It's designed to do that. So when you do get the PDF, it's called the Wightchester PDF bookmark. It's made for you. Okay. Oh, you know what? Here we go. I'm going to post this on screen for my man, the Witch King. Okay, so the O's are actually there for you to put an X in them after a character loots or triggers an encounter. It's not difficulty. Oh, okay. I misunderstood that. I'm so glad you're here. So it's kind of like stress boxes and like how everything is used in Fate Core as stress in a sense. But it's like for you to make notes and stuff like that. And Grimm wants you to do that. Because that's what it's designed. It's, he wrote the book, him and many others wrote the book for Wightchester, but they want you to make it your own as well, and to make your own adventures out of it. They want you to expand your creativity. That's what he stands for. That is why that man is like my idol, because I am all about being creative. I want people to be creative. I don't want everyone to be drones and basically just take whatever it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to play that. You're not supposed to play it like that. You're not supposed to do that there. It's we're not going to get into what company supports that, but we know that it seems like in today's time there's a lot of creativity that's not really out there. So the book does have a complete map for you that you can actually Photoshop right out of there, and use it to use it as a prop to show show it to your players, so that way they know where they're going. Very easy. So the whole book, okay, so minus the first 16 pages. Okay, so from page 17 to at least 400. Okay, this is a 500. Okay, make you guys aware, this is roughly on the PDF 502 pages, so it's about roughly 500 pages, give or take. You take it if you take out the cover page and whatnot. So about from page 17 to 439 is basically a map. You've got 422 pages of map and information. So again, lore and information, thumbs up. Artwork, definitely thumbs up. It gets you in the mood. Format, definitely thumbs up. The format for the maps were a little hard for me to understand, but I will still give it a thumbs up there. And that's what we're doing. We're kind of doing thumbs up, not really thumbs up, thumbs down. It's either thumbs up, or if I do see something negative that could be expanded on, I might say thumbs down, or I might say, you know, or I might just simply say, you know, for this, maybe a side thumb, like, you know, I'm kind of neutral about it. Right now, I am three thumbs up, no new, so I'm 3 positive, +3 on the positivity scale, 0 on the neutrality scale, and no minuses as of right now. So in the first appendix, they talk about the restoration of households, such as the lower class homes, middle class homes, upper class homes that are currently in Wightchesters. And they actually give you a little bit of information on that, of how that works, such as what kind of servants you could have, such as housekeepers, cooks, nurses, housemaids, gamekeepers. For larger country houses, the gamekeeper would guard and take care of the broader... Oh man, this has just got chock full of information. You know, footmen, valets, maids. And then you kind of move into the Mork Borg characters, where it shows you how to play this with the OSR system of Mork Borg versus 5th edition D&D, or another system that is similar to D20. And again, the artwork. Let me show off some of the artwork here. So we have the Magus, which you guys did not see that in Grimdark because of how much time you spent talking about Grimdark yesterday. So this is the Magus in Grimdark, or in Wightchester. This is a rogue. That is a cunning folk. You know, when I was going through that to convert the classes, this is what I got out of it. This is a Dungeons and Dragons wizard, rogue, and druid. So I was like, wizard, rogue, and druid. You know, it's like, that's easy. And even though that zealot, that's a zealot, guys. That looks kind of crazy. Even though that looks creepy as hell, he reminds me of Pyramid Head from Silent Hill so much. And even though he's considered a zealot, he is very similar to a paladin. That's a civilian. I have not been able to recreate that character class. I don't like some of the things that a civilian can do. That is a soldier, which is very similar to a fighter. Forester, which is very similar to a ranger. Brawler, that's of course monk. That's a cleric. We know that's a cleric. Dilettante, that is what a dilettante looks like, which is very similar to a bard. And then the brute, which definitely looks like a barbarian. And of course, when you look at their abilities and what they do, they actually are derived from those exact classes that I named off. When I was doing the conversion, I actually went through very carefully with a fine pick tooth comb and actually did pick those out for that. And I kind of saw that, so I was like, well, I should do the same thing. And then we get into the final parts of the book, which is Appendix 3. I think, how many appendixes are there? There's like a bunch of appendixes. There is 5. Appendix 3 is one of my favorites because they start talking about firearms. Okay, you know what a smooth musket does, what a smoothbore musket, smoothbore pistol. So I think for the firearms they were derived. Okay, so a DR. Okay, so like 150 silver pieces, I think is what it is. Oh no, it just says S. DR 10 to hit, 25 shots. So I think that's for Mork Borg, not the 5th edition one. But there is a section for the 5th edition one because they do talk about firearms in the very beginning of the book. That was within the first 17 pages. So that is even covered in this book as well. We even get into food and plants. And there's a link in here for the accomplished cook, thegutenberg.org. Plants, ingredients, herbs, spices, seasonings. You know, this just gives authenticity to the adventure a little bit. Ideas for you to toss in some, you know, like potatoes, prunes, you know. Normally when you play games like this, you just worry about rations. Technically, you know, trail rations are literally just made out of some crackers, a little bit of you know, wet food to keep it from going stale and keep it moist. So like rations or some chips or something, dried potatoes. So yeah, then they do talk about coinage. So instead of doing like copper pieces or whatever, they do penny, shillings, and pounds. So they even have a conversion chart if you don't use the D&D currency, so that way you can convert the D&D currency to penny, shillings, and pounds to make it more modern day. Other than that, there's just nothing but... Now, the rest of it is like... Okay, so like grain and dry goods, like a pint is exactly 269 cubic inches. So they do get some measurements and some information, so that way you know how much space something takes up. And this is just, at this point, this is just all mechanics. All mechanics and mathematics for you to do. And then you get into the appendix. Appendix 4 is a small part. So, okay, so Appendix 4 is like sounds of the dead, noise. So the city of Wightchester was quiet most of the time, save for the grooming undead or the furtive scrabbling of the vermin. Here there's like ways for you to do detection modifiers, like detection being 50-50%. So you know how you could roll the percentile dice and whatnot to actually say, okay, you made a noise over here. Okay, roll a dice. If you roll under, so a 10% chance that something heard you because you dropped it. Okay, you scored above. So the way to do that is, okay, if it's 10%, you take 100 minus 10. So you got to score 90 or lower for them not to hear you, which is fine because 10% is not that much. But then it's like if you made, like, say for instance, if something was in the area and it was a loud bang, then it would have to be under 50% for them not to hear you. And I think there's ways you can actively use that. So if you're not actively using stealth at all, you add 30% to that activity. If you're using stealth, you minus 50%. So if there's a 50% chance and you're just sneaking around, okay, so there's a 0% chance that you drop something, so there's a 0% chance that anyone heard you. So there's ways to actively do that as well. However, cries, if you get hurt and you start crying out in pain, that adds 60 to that. At that point, someone heard you. This is actually just completely common sense. Because if you think about it, any undead in the area has a 50% chance of hearing you. That's just passive sound. That's just passive. So if they're in position, it's 50-50. But if you're crying out in pain, that's a plus 60. That's a 110% chance that they heard you. Well, on a percentile die, you can only go up to 100. So at 110% chance, they heard you. Yelling is plus 50, and then if you're like stealthing, it's minus 50, and then just loud activity overall is 30%. Combat activity gives it a plus 50. So chances are, even if you're not using a gun, but you're making noise, chances are they could hear you. If they're within 100, if they're 100 feet away, it's only 40. If they're 200 feet away, it's only 30. And then it's like if they're 300 feet, they're 20, and it goes down that. But if they're in the immediate area, it's definitely 50%. So, yeah, that's what Appendix 4 is going. That is very useful. Very useful mechanic. I definitely got to use that for myself. And then the last appendix is my most absolute favorite. It is random zombies. Random zombies. Common, rare, scarce, and unique type zombies. And there's like different tables. Each table is basically a D20 table. And you roll a 20-sided die for each one. So, and then there is like some contributor zombies. So contributor zombies are basically zombies with faces, in a sense. So like Ashley and Grace, a pair of young women, not zombies. One tall, Ashley, and one short, Grace. Accomplished survivors. About level 2 or 3. They are skilled in athletics and fighting, having learned quickly. They move around the city, primarily on the roofs, traveling light and camping in different places each night. Both have become good with slings and have plentiful supplies of stones. They may intercede against the dead to help characters who seem like good people. So, the contributor zombies are basically regular people that are trying to, take out these other, take out the dead. In a sense, they help the players. I think there's even some here that will hurt the players. You know, but hey, it's like The Walking Dead, basically. You know, you got some good people, you got some terrible people. So, okay. And then Appendix 6. There is Appendix 6. It's got you ways for you to it's got ways for you to make generic NPCs of humanoids NPCs, generics. And then it's got the Comet Plague. It takes 1d4 by 1d4 hours for the Comet Plague symptoms to manifest in an infected person. So, and this is for all systems. So if you're infection, depending on the level, you take, let's see, description 1 and 2 on all rolls. Alright, description 1 to 2 on all rolls. Lose 1d4 HP, no visible effects, and then 2... Okay, you also have your movement speed, lose 1d6 HP, also sweating pale. 3, okay, so you gotta roll basically a d6, and that is basically the effects that, like if you're infected by something that, by the, whatever it is, magical plague or plague, you basically roll a d6 and see what symptoms are you're gonna have. And if you roll a 6, you're dead. So you could die in here pretty easily. Well, okay, so let's beginning on the rating here. Okay. Artwork. I showed off some good artwork. Thumbs up. 110%. Okay, information. It is chock full of it. Both mechanical and lore. Thumbs up. Artwork. It's definitely all in there. Format. Easy to find stuff, and stuff that you could bookmark because you're meant to do that. Thumbs up. Okay. Easy to use. Is it an easy to use guide? Yes, it is. Very easy, easily convertible. Thumbs up. Okay. So we're looking at four pluses, no neutrals, and no negatives. Okay. So this does use, kind of derived from 5th edition a little bit, or uses the 5th edition rule set, as well as the OSR Mark Borg, which is part of the reason why it's also easy convertible. I'm going to give it thumbs up. I'm going to give it a double thumbs up for easily convertible, because you can do that. The use of firearms, easy to use in any game system, not just 5th edition or OSR. Thumbs up. So we are 6 thumbs up. Okay, so the only thing I didn't really like about it too much was the civilian class. Okay, that's pretty much about it. So, I'm looking at 6 pluses, and maybe I just didn't care for the civilian class. Does the civilian class mechanically hurt the game? No. Does not having the civilian class or not allowing anyone play it mechanically hinder anything? No. It is like it's meant to be there. Am I going to convert a civilian class in Castles and Crusades? Possibly. I just don't know how I'm doing it yet. I am going to look at Mark Borg, because the greatest thing about the Siege engine is it's like, someone said this once in the review, they're like new old school. It's like, it's not old school essentials. It's not like old school Renaissance. It's more like new / old school Renaissance. Basically something a little bit different. Probably will. But like I said, the civilian class is not really my most favorite one, because it does have multiple options where you can play a peasant, a noble. I mean, it's kind of like NPCs to me, or guildmaster. Those are kind of like NPCs. So, I'm going to, like I said, 6 pluses, 1 minus. Okay, so we're about, let's see here. Do I have any other, okay, and it is, so Wightchester, for itself, for the PDF right now, is $19.99, for the PDF. There is no option, I think, for PDF with physical, unfortunately. But the price is really fair for the PDF. I am going to work on getting the physical myself. I just have not done it yet, because there's still a lot of other games out there. So I'm going to definitely say, thumbs up on that one. Let me see here. So if you go to, so it is a regular $50 book, just like any other book. So I'm gonna say a neutral on that one. I'm not gonna give that a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's just the price it takes to print books these days. Plus, with the amount of color and art that he's doing, yeah, that is more than fair. Plus, you can get the PDF for $20 if you want. That is up to the player's preferences. So, what were you at? We are, if you ask Grimm for the PDF when you bought the print copy, he will give you one for free. Does he really? I did not know that. Okay, so it says here from... So the Witch King, the Esoteric Order of Nerdity, says if you ask Grimm for the PDF when you bought the print copy, he will give you one for free. I did not know that. Maybe that's something... I did not know that. That's something for everyone to look into. I'm gonna definitely give it definitely a huge thumbs up on that one. What other things to cover? Not really much else to cover on that one. So overall, I said yesterday in the last stream, I don't believe in perfection because I think, there was one thing I didn't really care for, which was the civilian class, but like I said, the civilian class may still play a factor in my Castle Crusades game because I don't believe in changing too much. 9 out of 10, I think, would be fair. But if you are going to seriously ask me as Grim Jim's fanboy, it's, 10 out of 10 because I fell in love with Wightchester the moment that I did it. It is pretty much, no matter what, no matter how good a game is written, what kind of artwork is presented, it is always up to the GM and players' preferences, what they like. What a game, and I shouldn't say GM and player, I should say gamers. It's always a gamer's preference. I like, for instance, Fallout, Mass Effect, and Elder Scrolls. Someone may not always like one of those games. I actually have, my roommate actually does not care for Fallout. He's just now getting into Fallout for the first time. And I'm not sure really what really did it for him. I think he saw me playing the game, and he's like, okay, I got to give this a try. He literally hated Fallout, so I got him to like it. So I'm not sure what I did. So it is always up to everyone's preference, but like I said, as a gamer from the outside, I would say 9 out of 10. But as Grim Jim's fanboy and what I really, with the amount of information and work he did put into that, plus I did have a couple personal friends on that project, I'm going to say 10 out of 10. But like I said, I will leave it up to my audience to judge for themselves how they feel, and for anyone who does check out his work, So, on a fair scale, outside of the, neutral, outside of the fanboy part, I still give it a 9 out of 10 because it is a damn good book. And it is worth doing. We're definitely going to be playing a Wightchester game and then sometime in the future, hopefully before the end of the year. He likes you, that's what you did, LOL. That's what my girlfriend wrote. Oh, Grim Jim and I met many times, but, I only got to game with him once, and I'm hoping to game with him this Sunday, but unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to be possible. I do have to work. So, depends when they start. Anyway, well, that's everything I have. So, overall, definitely highly recommend the book. Definitely check it out. I'm going to be getting more of his stuff. I'm looking at Tales of Gore is on my list, as well as Eurotech is going to be on my list. And then I'm going to be looking at some other stuff that I think I found on his site too that's on my list. I can't think of what that could be. My main things on my list from his site was really Grimdark and Wightchester, so got those. It was Grimdark a year ago, and then when Wightchester got released, I was like, okay, gotta wait for the money to come in. So yeah, all right. Well, highly recommended. 9 out of 10. But I'm a fanboy. 10 out of 10. Highly recommended either way. All right, I'm rambling now. It's time for me to go and do other things. And this was another long review, about 50 minutes. So yeah, we're getting back into doing some awesome streams here. So want to let everyone know to work hard, Play hard, game hard as always, everybody. I'm going to be gaming here sometime this week. Game on. You guys have a great and wonderful day, and enjoy the rest of your week.